I had the luxury of Sons of Anarchy for 7 years when my daughter was first born. So, I go to work in the morning. I could come home at night, which was fantastic.
Are you still close with those guys from Sons of Anarchy?
Yeah, that's a friendship that will stay. That's not going anywhere.
Do you still talk to all the guys?
All of them, all the time.
All the time. Just wow, what a brotherhood. That's crazy.
I just got off with Kim. I just got off with Coates. I was texting with Perlman. I love them. It was like, it's like we went, now we can reflect on it, like now, but it was like we went through this thing that we were all unsure of at the end, and we just needed to get away from each other. And then we came back around.
I now get it. I get what a big hit it was. I mean, I didn't really understand the whole, like before Sons, Michael, I was, you're the guy from Black Hawk Down. Oh, you're that guy from Open Range. Oh, you're the guy on Goon.
Last Boy Scout. Yeah.
The Last Boy Scout. You're that guy. But then you do a show like Sons for me, and the level of what a hit that thing was and what a crazy show it was, I became Kim Coates. So I think after watching the shows now that Theo and I have done, I now understand the incredible fandom.
I saw Charlie not long ago. I see Boone a lot. I see Kim. I see Theo. Yeah, we always bump into each other. Perlman. Oh, the Pearl. I love the Pearl.
Was he fun to work with?
He's the best. He's such a sweetheart, and he's such a beautiful human being, and I love his politics, and he's so eloquent, and he's just a beautiful man.
You know Ron?
I know him from conventions.
Yeah, he's the best. He's really cranky, but I love him. He's so smart.
Was he cranky on set?
Sure. I mean, the first
he
few
looks
years,
like he'd be cranky, right?
But the last couple, when you know you're going to die, or you don't like the writing, or he became cranky. But I think we all had a bit of crank in us.
Yeah. I mean, it was probably grueling schedule and a lot of work, right?
Absolute chaos, but I have it no other way. It was like Charlie and I just said when we did that Reaper review thing with Kim and I, it was like going to college. Like for me.
Michael, you I'm sure you're the same. I'm allowed to complain because I'm old now, but I never took for granted how much we worked, or I never complained. Yeah, it was some really tough days. We we're all in leather and riding those bikes and those Harleys, and we shot in like July, August, September, which in LA is really, really hot. And
because this fictional brotherhood became this real brotherhood. And we lived on that fucking set. We rode our bikes to work in the morning, and then we would in the evening, and then we'd ride our bicycle. We smoked cigarettes, and then we'd ride our motorcycles home.
And it really, I think, like Charlie and I said the other day, I don't think you can ever do that again. It was like a moment in time that doesn't exist anymore. It's like The Sopranos. I talked to those guys, and they had a lot of the same exact kind of deal.
Yeah, we kind of lived that for 7 years. So it was, a lot of what you saw up on the screen, like I was saying earlier, you have to have that camaraderie, and everyone has to be treated equal, and then it shows up on the screen. I think that's why a lot of reason why Sons of Anarchy was successful.
Sons is one of the only shows ever that our ratings never went down. They only went up, like up and up. They never plateaued. They just went up from season 1 to 2 all the way. So FX is the biggest hit they've ever had by $1 gazillion. So pretty proud of all that.
So silly. And the fact that I'm like third on your Sons of Anarchy list is even more funny.
Third? What do you mean?
I know you had Flanagan, Coates. I know you had these people on.
Seriously, I don't fucking do them. And when I do them, I want them to end immediately. It's like I'll say 2 words and I go, okay, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Leave me alone.
Why is that?
It's always the same stories, but when you call me, I thought the beautiful Rosenblum is going to be a laugh. And
Rosenblum,
and I've heard good old Sparkles.
Because I've already talked to Hunnam. He's banning your show. He's already said it's not happening.
That's it. He's done. Were there some big accidents on set?
We had 3. Yeah, we had 3. We got lucky. Ronnie Perlman went down hard, and I was right beside him, and I got off my bike like a horse. I just got off so fast. Told him not to move. Lay there. The ambulance came, and he turned out to be all right. A lot of lesions and scrapes. And then Mark Boone Jr., Booney, we could have lost him. We were doing a scene. We were chasing the Russians. Of course, we were chasing the Russians.
Why wouldn't you be?
You know, who wouldn't be? And so we're chasing the Russians. And he had this old, late 90s Harley with these ape hangers, really tall. It was really hard to negotiate and navigate. It was a tough bike to ride, and he's a great rider. And we went around a corner, too many rocks, and he slid hard. And he missed a big, big boulder, and he was out for a couple of days. And then Tommy, yeah, I could go on, but we were all right. No one got seriously hurt. We were very lucky.
Right.
I love character actors, and I think it's like when I saw Ron Perlman and Kim Coates and Tommy Flanagan and Katie Seagal and and I did the original pilot with Scott Glenn, like who I'd done a movie with prior to that. I was enthralled. I was also a giant fan of The Shield. So I was like so happy to be there. Chaos. It was absolute chaos. When I did Luke Cage right after it, I had the same executive producer writer who was on that show with me. And it was also the showrunner had done this movie. I did Lowriders. He wrote that. I was almost like, I rescue all my dogs. And so I know what it's like. I was like a dog who just got rescued, where they were like, hey, it's okay. It's okay. They just need you on set. Like, it's okay. Because it was like, I was so tense all the time from Sons. All the time.
Was it emotionally or mentally draining being in Sons of Anarchy? It just looks like a lot of work.
Yes.
It was like a heavy show. Like it was heavy in all aspects. It was, I could talk about the positives for days. Like, I don't know what it's like to be in the Rolling Stones or the Beatles or be in like a rock band, like even a minimal one. But like when we were together, and we were together all the time on our bikes, going to Comic-Cons, going to restaurants, going to bars, it was like being rock stars. Like you would just roll up 11 deep and everyone was in the show. And people were like, what the fuck is happening here? So it was that where it was like, I'd never been exposed to that. I was a guest star actor. And then at the same time, it was the schedule of the amount of we were filming on the budget we were filming. It would be compared to like a low budget indie now. And we were filming at an accelerated pace. And then the emotions were running so high. So we had no other choices but I know for me, and maybe it's because I'm not nearly as good as an actor as all the other people, I had no other choice but to exist as that character all the time because of the schedule.
Wow.
So, and Juice was like a really fucked up character.
Yeah.
So I was kind of fucked up for like 8 years.
Really? It messed you up for 8 years. You were just kind of like not quite yourself.
I tried to turn it off, but it was like we were always all together. So our dynamic was shaped from the show.
There was only 3 of us who could ride. Mark Boone Jr., David LaBrava, and myself of the leads knew how to ride. Some of them lied and said they did, and then they fell a few times and realized, well, you're a liar. So they all had to go to bike school.
Jesus.
Everybody. And I would say by the end of the 7 seasons, Charlie Hunnam probably became the best rider because he was never off his bike. He rode to work every day. We all did, but he really did. And he became a really good rider. So I knew how to ride. And I was called safety first, Michael, because I would stop so many shots. I go, cut, Flanagan, why are you rubbing your fucking feet on the ground? Because my boots are slippery. Well, you do that later.
I don't know. I've never seen it.
You don't watch it.
I've never seen Sons of Anarchy.
You've never seen Sons of Anarchy.
No. I saw.
And you did 7 seasons?
I saw bits, but I've never watched the whole thing. I mean, I'd go to the premiere, because that's what you do, isn't it? But begrudgingly, I have to ask,
because that's what you do.
But I never watched the show because we were living that. Like I said earlier, we were living that bullshit. So I never really saw.
Theo Rossi calls me in like April, May of 2020 when there's nothing going on, and he goes, "We should do a Reaper review." And review Sons of Anarchy, every single show. And I went, no. What are you nuts? There was 92 shows, 70. I'm not going to do. Well, we've done it. We're actually on the last show, which we'll record next week, of 2.5 years of talking once a week. The fans have gone nuts for it. Bazooka brains, bananas, off the rails.